Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. I'm one of the youth team at Cornerstone Church in Nottingham. It's great to have you with us. This evening we are going to be circling back on a topic which you may remember if you've listened to our podcast before. As part of our Life in Lockdown series, thinking about what life looks like under this current coronavirus pandemic when we can't go out. How do we do our Christian life well in that time? And I spent some time speaking to my friend Katrina Harper about her reflections on prayer, what it is to have a good prayer life, what makes prayer difficult, and giving us some tips. And we're going to continue sort of on that theme in our podcast today. And I have Hugh Doxat-Pratt with me this evening. Hugh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so some of you will know me from church, but it's interesting. This year I've actually been a Christian for 40 years. So
Wow.
I've been at university when I was 20. It was just, because I wouldn't have met my wife otherwise, and that was sad reflection on what happened, but God met me 40 years ago. And so people say you've been a Christian 40 years, you must have this cracked. Can I tell you, Hannah, I don't ever get praying cracked. Prayer warriors who are just immense and incredible. I love prayer. I know it's really important, but it's just so hard to do it by yourself sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You settle down and you think, I'm going to pray hard, and your mind goes all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does your prayer life tend to look like? How do you go about praying?
Okay, so for many years I felt a complete failure because I couldn't do 20 minutes of prayer by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was easier if I had a list, but then it's a shopping list. Is that really what I want to bring to God? A shopping list? Where's worship in that?
Yeah.
And I read several times the Lord's Prayer, and it got me into understanding that this is a process. You've got to remember who you're coming to. Formal parts of prayer. Also was really struck by, and it came up this morning, this made me really laugh, right? Because I knew we were going to talk about this, and my verse of the day on the U version Bible says, pray continually. It's like, yeah, come on, that's impossible. Well, yes it is, no it isn't. So I think for me, my prayer life looks like trying to be in contact with God through the Holy Spirit's prompting, through just talking to Him throughout the whole. That's basically what I try and do.
Okay. So what kind of things do you talk about as you go about your day-to-day life? For some people that's a bit of an alien concept because prayer is kind of supposed to be this very spiritual, deliberate thing. So what does that look like for you?
I think there are two very important things that I've had to learn over the last 4 years. Many of us will know the verse in Revelation that says, I think it's Revelation 3:20, isn't it? Which says, "Here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I'll come in and eat with that person and they with me." And it's sort of this invitation to invite Jesus in and to invite God in and to invite the Holy Spirit in. And I reflected on that, because if you actually wanted to get to know somebody, then you wouldn't just invite them in for a meal. If they're going to stay with you, then you wouldn't just see them at breakfast time, maybe 10 minutes before you left for work, school, whatever. You wouldn't meet them at a meal time and then say goodnight at the end of the day. You wouldn't get to know them. And so I thought, well, what would it look like to try and get to know God more? And I thought, well, if it was somebody like a best friend, you'd want to go and have coffee. You'd want to hang out together. You wouldn't talk about all the important spiritual stuff. You'd just talk about life. You'd share life. I'm having a problem with this, I don't know what you and Katrina talk about. But I love the fact that you've finished with saying, well, that's goodbye to everybody, but I'll chat with you in a minute, Katrina, right? You wanted to chat with her, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome? What we felt about God. you know, what we felt, because we wanted to share with him the successes, you know.
Yeah.
That was a lesson I'd been dreading, but it went really well. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I quite often.
I'm supposed to be eating this food. It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm quite guilty, I think, of doing the shopping list thing of starting the day feeling a bit in a rush, and you know, skipping through the kind of praise elements of prayer like quite quick, getting to all of the things that I need, and then actually if one of them happens, I forget to even say thank you, which is just, yeah, it's not great practice, is it really? And if you're if you're in constant kind of just casual communication with God, I guess, then that becomes just more of a habit, being grateful for the little things as well.
I think you're absolutely right, and it is about, you know, yes, he's almighty, yes, he's awesome, yes, he's incredible, but Jesus says to his disciples, and therefore to us, I no longer call you servants, I call you friends. John 15. And that, when you think about it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So we still treat God very much as this master, you know, owner, which is right and proper. He is almighty, and it is awesome. And the praise and worship stuff I do just as much when I'm walking around any other time. There was a wonderful thing I heard once, which you've got to remember, different people's personalities will do different things in prayer because God has made us unique, right? So just because it works for you, or for me, or for anybody else, doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else. You've got to talk to God and find your own way to it. But just going around, there are always things to thank God for, you know. He cares about his world. So, you know, at the moment, the weather's pretty good. Well, that's, you know, that's a good starting point. He is the creator, you know.
Yeah.
And every time it's a nice day, wow. But if it rains, right? Well, actually, that's good, because if it didn't rain, we'd have to water the garden.
That's true.
So I think it's just having this. An American once said, an attitude of gratitude. I can't put an American accent on it. You know what I mean? This attitude of just being thankful, because he is our God. What he's done is amazing, and he's actually interested in gritty, in the boring stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
interested when, you know, you've got problems in friendship circles, when, you know, somebody seems to be, you know, hurt you or whatever like that. He cares. He doesn't just care for you, he cares for everyone. And sometimes he might challenge you to say, well, you know, what can you do to sort it out, not just help you go and, you know, deal with them. I mean, I love that it's just read the scriptures, and you see these disciples who he called friends, who got it wrong. You know, somebody challenged Jesus. So, you know, what was it? The sons of thunder said, bring down lightning, you know, kill them off. They're not supposed to challenge you. You're God. It just feels like me sometimes when we get challenged or somebody questions us as being faithful, you know, Jesus followers. We go, oh, look, you just deal with them, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, take them out of my life, you know, get rid of them.
Yeah. But God's given us everything that we need for each day, isn't he? And yeah, I know what you mean. It's easy to pray for things to just be removed, but actually God can really work through the challenging situations, can't he, and show us that actually he is with us, and we can do what we think we can't do with his strength. Yeah,
absolutely, really and that is the tremendous stuff. But there's also simply the stuff about chatting with God about day to day, right? And I use that word deliberately. I was overwhelmed when I first became a Christian, particularly when we reached our first church as a married couple, because people prayed these just magnificent prayers. And they used language which was awe-inspiring. I can't do that. I can chat.
Yeah.
Naturally. He wants to know my heart.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want us to cover up who we are with fine language.
Yeah. And that's a good point, isn't it? Because he does know your heart. And so, you know, if we're praying to God and he doesn't care if we use fancy language or really grand expressions, he knows our hearts and he just wants to hear us talk about them. Then yeah, it's quite challenging, isn't it? Because then we're faced with the fact that actually who are we praying to, or like for whose benefit are we praying? You know, is it we're praying to God, or are we feeling self-conscious about who else is around us? That kind of brings me on actually to something else that I was thinking it would be good to talk about, which is you kind of talked to me about how you're a massive extrovert, you love being around people, and at the minute obviously that's not possible. So have you had any encouraging times of prayer with people virtually over Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever?
Yeah, I have, and yeah, I mean, I have to say I love 3D people. 2D people over Zoom and WhatsApp are great, but 3D people are hilarious as far as I'm concerned. But I was taught a good number of years ago now by somebody who became one of my very, very best friends, and he just would ring up and say, "I need you to pray for me now." Right now, I'm going somewhere to work. And he'd say, "Can you pull over and just pray for me?" Right? And so you pull over and start praying, and you then find you'd left the window open, and passers-by sort of looking at you weirdly because you're just praying to a loudspeaker somewhere because you're on Bluetooth. But it was just like, it doesn't matter who you are, just pray for me. Yeah. And so praying for people on Zoom or the telephone or wherever is hugely encouraging.
And yeah, definitely.
Doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be formal, So I'm ending a lot of calls and Zooms I'm making with people, saying, "Can I just pray for you?" And just basically, God knows the conversation because He's been there.
Yeah.
To reiterate the conversation, you just reiterate, where the person needs prayer. And the whole time I'm saying, "Can you guide me, God, in the words I use, that it is an encouragement for that person." I think sometimes we say that.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think it is a massive encouragement that, like, particularly when we can't see people, we can still join with them. We can't go to church and we can't go to youth group and we can't, if we're part of a home group or whatever, we can't physically meet people, but we can still pray together, which is great. Speaking of which, I'm aware that in 5 minutes you've got your Connect group. Do you have any closing before you nip off and join in with Bible study?
I just wanted to say that if you're feeling embarrassed about praying with people, he says, unless you become like little children, you can't come to me. And if you hear little children pray, Hannah, we've got a granddaughter who's 3 and a quarter, right? And her prayers are very, very direct and specific. She knows who she's praying to. And it's just delightfully simple. Yeah. There isn't any barrier there. She's beginning to learn that Father God is just somebody who you talk to.
Yeah.
So if she's hungry and she's asked to say grace, she goes, "Thank you for my food, amen, because I'm really hungry." Right? That feels really silly. All I can see is a smile on God's face.
Yeah.
I think it's being real. That's all I'd encourage you to do. And if I'm wrong, I'll get to heaven and get told off by God. I'm going to be real with Him and acknowledge His awesomeness. Also say, "Look, this is me. You made me. I've nothing to hide. I don't fancy language. It's just me."
Yeah. Amen. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Hugh, for your time this evening. It's been really great and encouraging to chat to you. I love doing these and yeah, hearing from people and their thoughts on what it looks like to live for Jesus, particularly in this season of lockdown. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed, everyone. I hope you have a great time in lockdown and you're able to cope with everything. You know, it's difficult, I know, but hope for it.
Yeah. Yes, Lord willing, we will be back together soon. Okay. Everybody take care. With you soon. Bye.